Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today guys, I have got a game from LiquidTLO's Razor Replay Pack of the Week. And it is the first game in this replay pack I have cast. For those of you who don't frequently view my channel, well, you should check out my playlists. Because last week was of course Liquid C's Replay Pack of the Week and I cast a good number of his games. And they were awesome. The Razor Replay Pack of the Week always comes with some pretty sweet games. So do check those out. I've got some older ones as well on there. And, well, who is TLO up against? Well, he's up against Millennium's Feast, the red Protoss player in the lower right, which means we have got a ZvP, ZvP Protoss, and the Protoss player, very, very unsurprisingly, is going for a fast expansion. The map Ahana, and it is easy to get a base down here. So I reckon Feast will go Nexus first. That is how easy it is on this map. TLO, he's going to go for a 14 or 15 pull. That's going to be followed up by around a 16 hatchery, which will be followed up by about a 4 to 4 minute 23rd base. And that third base is really where a lot of this game is going to get played out. Because if it stays up, TLO, he is in ace form. If it goes down, well, Millennium Feast, he's probably going to win the game. The only other thing we may see, of course, is if the Protoss player decides to take their third base relatively quickly, which you do occasionally see, and it is awesome when you do see it. So, fingers crossed, we may get a really super hardcore macro game. Otherwise, we could see lots of intense fighting of the third base, maybe some clutch defense from TLO. We will wait and see, but hopefully, this game will be brilliant. They usually are. Anyway, what are we got going down so far? Obviously, no Forge yet. The fact we're nearly at 400 minerals for the Protoss means Nexus first was correctly predicted, so that is always good. Meanwhile, the probe coming down here, just going to be irritating, just going to block the expansion for as long as possible. Of course, the longer you block a Zerg's expansion, not only does it affect their income, it also affects their production capability, reduces their drone count, and is generally just a pain. So, big props to always blocking this expansion, but we're going to see something awesome out of TLO, which so many Zerg players are doing now. They know Protoss are going to block their natural, so I'm going to take my third anyway in about a minute, so I'll just take my third first, get 2 Zerglings out, push this probe back, and then I'll take my natural. So this is a really interesting way we're seeing a lot of Zerg players adapt to what Protoss tend to do. And this is what's been so interesting. I've been around StarCraft for ages and ages and ages, and what I love seeing is really how these players and how the metagame adjusts really quite massively. So, looking around here, obviously, what else have we got coming down? We've got the gateway, we've got the photon cannon, that's good. The first 2 gas. Actually, no, only the first gas on its way. The second gas should come down any second, though the probe's there. So, go on 2 gas, there we go. Timing's all back to normal. Gas-wise for TLO, we won't see any gas until about 40 to 50 odd supply. The third base already down there. So, that was down pretty early, actually. That was pretty much just before 4 minutes. Actually, it was 3:55, so that was a very, very early third, which is going to put TLO in a good position. In terms of them Zerglings, they're going to start working on the rocks now. Quick math, a Zergling deals 5 damage per hit. Rocks have 3 armor, which means it's 2 damage per hit, and they have 2,000 hit points. So those Zerglings are going to take quite a while to knock those rocks down. Hopefully they'll get some help eventually. But they're important to knock down because it makes the defense and darting between your third and natural a lot easier. Because obviously once the Protoss army is sort of here, they can very quickly, if the third base is well defended, just come up to the natural. So that is good play right there. Meanwhile, the Cybernetics core coming down here for Feast. That is all perfect as well. Now, TLO actually getting very, very early gas here. This is exceptionally early for this sort of playstyle. So I'm very interested to see what he's got planned. Usually you don't see that for at least another kind of 10 supply from where they went down. So, well, can't wait to see what kind of plan he's got going. But it is going to be very interesting nonetheless. Third base has now finished up. We've got Creep Tumor at the third base. And obviously we've got Queen at the main. No third Queen in production yet though, which I find quite surprising because obviously those Queens ever so essential to getting out lots of lava, etc., in order to get lots of units or drones. Up for TLO, well, he's got to be really thinking, what's this +1 for? He knows that there's a third gas down because he's seen it here with that Overlord. It's a good Overlord placement. That Stalker won't be able to kill the Overlord, but lightning reflexes by TLO, actually. He must have been looking down there at that time. These rocks, half dead. That's good. The Queen going to come and help there as well. Still no third Queen in production. We've got very, very early lair. That is, again, well, it's not super early, but it is relatively early timings, because of course if you look here, TLO is still only have like 45 supplies, got the Evolution Chamber and Rotron coming up, so I'm thinking he's going to go for some kind of big timing push. That is the most likely thing that we would see. Perhaps going for one of those 11-minute max outs, that's always a possibility. It's something that, to be honest, on a Hana, I'm not sure I like, because it is such a narrow ramp, it can be quite difficult to do that sort of thing. But we've got Twilight Council coming down here for Feast. He's getting up 3 more gateways. That will take him up to 4 gates. With the Twilight Council, that's pretty strong. The Twilight Council will also allow him to start the +2 Protoss ground weapons, and of course upgrading like a Bolt. The +1 missile attack coming out here for Feast, and well, that is very, very early timings, and definitely gearing towards a timing push. So obviously we've already got those roaches coming in. In terms of the worker count, only 48 workers down for TLO at the moment. He is getting a couple more up. The robotic facility on its way down here for Feast at the moment. He's picking off these rocks, perhaps getting ready to, or at least the first steps towards taking his third base. Blink on its way down as well. So both players going for really quite interesting styles, which should mean really interesting games. TLO taking his third gas there. He has banked up. Actually, rather, Feast has banked up quite a lot of gas at the moment. That's, of course, due to the fact that once the Robo's out, we'll be able to start spending that a bit better. Roach speed coming down as well, so we should start to see a lot more roaches in production. There we go. It's really starting to go up to be a big potential push. TLO hasn't really produced many more workers. Up at 51 has really cut all worker production in favour of just getting out an awful lot of roaches. How's he doing at saturation? Well, his third base is 1 drone off fully saturated the middle. His natural is really pretty low, and his main base is completely saturated. So that is all good. We've got more roaches coming out. Have we got any Zerglings really on the field? Well, the answer to that is no, only 3, but quite a few roaches. So I'm interested to see what kind of style and what type of push he's going to go for. The third base has got creep generated at it. That takes an awfully long time to receive. So this is going to delay the third base of the Protoss player by an awfully long time. The first observer on its way out. We do of course have the +2 Protoss ground weapons getting chrono boosted. Blink nearly finished as well. But as you can see, Millennium's Feast has very, very few units on the field right now. He's at 22 army supply compared to the 51 of TLO. These roaches coming over, are they going to get spotted by the observer? Yes, they will, but not for an awfully long time as the push is basically there. So this is going to have to be some good defense, and as you can see already, we've got more roaches in production. The Protoss army pulling back, and they have to try and defend the ramp. A complete wall off being formed at the entrance to the natural base. Of course, the sentries force fields are going to be absolutely essential, but these roaches are going to be able to be pretty annoying. +1 is finished for them. We do, of course, have the Overlord speed upgrade on its way. More roaches coming in. Roach speed has done the infestation pit on its way down, and droning behind this. So TLO clearly just trying to push forward and deal a little bit of damage, get the map dominance, and he has really, really forced Feast back for the time being. But that observer in a good place to see everything coming down. 5th and 6th gas on the way down for TLO. Obviously all 4 gas up for Feast at the moment. He's getting additional 2 gateways. He's getting his first Immortal out as well. That takes his gateway count. It should take it up to 7 if my math is good. Looking here, obviously the third base trying to get taken. The 4th base for TLO already down though, so he's doing the right thing, staying a base up, which is precisely what you want to do as Zerg against Terran and Protoss. It's really just quite fundamental, is out-expand your opponent by at least 1 base, otherwise you have got problems. Now the second Evo Chamber coming down for TLO. The Infestation Pit has started researching pathogen glands, that's all good. In terms of upgrades for Feast though, he's getting the +2, and actually we see a Contaminate from an Overseer there. So that is really, really, really good play. Obviously Contaminate is something that you rarely see used actually, and it's such a good upgrade. It stops production at a facility, so that was really good. This 4th base going to get a little bit of pressure. Roach is coming in from behind. Perhaps going to try and sandwich this Protoss army. Maybe just going to go for a complete counter-attack is what it looks like at the moment. The Stalkers will see it though, so we will have Feast pull back, but will these Roaches be able to get down to 3rd base in time? That Immortal should get sniped off, or is TLO even going to go for it? Yes, he is. That is a good shot right there. An Immortal for basically free is fantastic. Now, this 3rd base almost certainly going to get taken down. So many probes dying right now. That is pretty crazy. No sentries really in position there. Those Stalkers blinking back, trying to do some damage. But TLO, he is going for the mineral line. Just a couple of Roaches sitting there, trying to delay this. Meanwhile, those Roaches going absolutely mad on the probes, getting as many kills as they can. TLO behind this is getting an awful lot of units out, ready to deal with any more aggression. Retaking a 4th base from the other side. That observer is seeing everything, which again you don't really want. You want to try and deny your enemies scouting as best you can. But this push coming back now from Millennium Feast. In terms of workers killed, 12 killed there. That does take TLO into a quite comfortable worker lead right now, and obviously he's got the 5th and 6th gas compared to only 4 gas of Feast. The macro hatch on its way down right now. The observer gets taken out. That is a good thing to do. Looking around, no hive yet. We're at about 30 minutes. Should be seeing the hive at about 40 minutes. A double expansion coming down here for TLO, who is taking his 5th base as well. These Zerglings running around getting good map control. Are they going to go around the back? They are, and they're not going to get spotted. The photon cannon is not going to be down in time if those Zerglings go for it right now, and that could be really, really frustrating. Obviously, those Zerglings running in just to see what's there first. They're going to poke and prod at some stuff. Some more units coming in. But for the moment, we've got most of the Protoss force moving through the center. Are they going to go up and check for that 4th base? They should do, almost certainly. But as you can see here, the Zerglings have got their initial scout. And here comes all the rest of the Zerglings. This is going to be a basically a counter-attack of a counter-attack, and this is pretty crazy. The 5th base doesn't get cancelled, but TLO is going to be able to take down this 3rd base almost certainly. So many Zerglings there, and what is Feast going to do? Well, the one thing he shouldn't do is just leave his units standing around doing nothing. Ideally, you want to attack something, and if you're not going to go back and defend. But as you can see, these Zerglings doing absolutely huge damage at the moment. They do have the +1 melee attack. They are just decimating that mineral line. As you can see though, the 3rd base of TLO is taking big damage. The macro hatch is going to go down. Are we going to see a base race situation? We've got a lot of units here. Some force fields go down very, very well. Infested Terrans getting lobbed down as well. That will aid in the defense. They soak up a lot of damage, deal a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the natural base of Feast has been destroyed. These Zerglings are still going strong though. A good warp in though of lots of Zealots. They're going to help really deal with those Zerglings effectively. But well, TLO has killed nearly 50 of his opponent's workers. The Protoss player down to just 25 probes, and of course, a 4th base, which is now the 3rd for TLO, is up and running. Those infested Terrans are still being absolutely baller and really pushing back all of this Protoss force. The Zerglings are retreating as well. Are they going to go for some kind of sandwich maneuver? No, they're just going to try and retreat home, but they'll take a lot of damage in the process. And really, this is now a 1-base Feast against a 3-base Zerg, which is really quite a nice position for TLO to be in, assuming he can hold off this push. So he's doing the right thing and just building shed loads of spine crawlers because, hey, why not? I've got lots of minerals. I need something to soak up some damage. We should see some good infested Terrans and fungal growths go down. The infestor's very, very low on energy, though. That is going to be the small problem there. Of course, the Stalkers and Immortals good at dealing with spine crawlers, but they do all manage to finish up. And TLO is expanding like a ninja right next to his opponent's old 3rd base. That's rubbing salt into the wound right there. And, well, this Protoss army trying to find a good angle, but the longer it takes to engage, the more units TLO is going to be able to pump out, the more infestors. These force fields, while they're good, they're actually blocking the Zealots from being able to get up there, which is just allowing the Roaches to take pot shots. Those Stalkers do manage to get a blink up into the high ground. The Spine Crawler is doing good damage. More infested Terrans getting lobbed down though, and slowly Feast's army is whittling down. The infested Terrans just soaking up so much fire. The Spine Crawler is doing a good job as well. We've got more Spine Crawlers in production, more infestors in production, but the problem is there's very little support for these infestors, who are just going to have to run back, try and get some more energy up. That is the most important thing. 32 more Zerglings in production. This is getting insanely close, but of course Feast has got nothing really behind this to back it up. In terms of the army supply, these two players are pretty evenly matched. We've got more infested Terrans on their way down for the moment, but of course no units really coming up at the moment, so that could be a small problem. The natural base for TLO gets taken down. He is going to have to do some absolutely clutch defense. Meanwhile, counterattacks coming in, but there's quite a few Zealots there. We've got a couple of Roaches coming over there. That will help deal with that. The Evolution Chamber gets taken down. That Sentry nearly getting killed by the Broodlings from the Evolution Chamber. That was pretty close. These infested Terrans still pushing forward, trying to do more damage. Got more infested Terrans coming down. TLO just holding the line. Of course, infested Terrans are free. They cost nothing but energy, which means they engage cost effectively to the max. Meanwhile, down at Feast base, there's a couple of infested Terrans down here. There's a couple of Roaches and just that one infestor rather. The infestors though up at TLO's main, they are getting taken out. This is really, really bad to see. Obviously, lots of infested Terrans getting lobbed down. More Zerglings on their way out, but the majority of this army is still up, and TLO is rapidly falling in terms of his supply. He's trying his best to pull these infestors back. The Queen even getting involved, but a great blink forward there is going to see lots of infestors start popping. Drones are trying to run away, but of course, behind this TLO, he does have more bases hidden around, but all of the important tech structures are in his main. We're seeing that get absolutely destroyed right now. We've got a handful of Zerglings here. We've also got a couple of Zealots and Stalkers doing some damage. That one Infestor still trying to do as best as can. This is really getting into drabs of a base race, but the Protoss army hugely bigger right now, and that is never a good position for Zerg to be in because, well, Protoss units are stronger per supply than Zerg units, so really you need a bigger force to engage, well, at least before kind of Broodlord Infestor comes out. As you can see here, all of TLO's main base has been cleaned out. He is rapidly trying to defend down here, trying to get a spawning pool up so he can make anything other than drones, because currently he's limited to building drones or drones or drones. He does have still these forces down here, though, in the main base, and, well, we see a great little move here by all of the probes hugging around those units and just stop. Not hold position, just stop. That way, it prevents the Zerglings from targeting them, and they just act as a human shield. Meanwhile, we've got Feast moving all of his army down He is looking everywhere he can, trying to find these bases. 2 more spine crawlers there. That 1 infestor. Hero infestor, go on. Go on, Hero Infestor. You've got a fungal growth. Good work. Good work. But there's a lot of units there. And I think we should see Feast win this now. It's going to be pretty close, though. And TLO is sending an awful lot of units down to his another hidden base. He's building another spawning pool because you can never build too many spawning pools, it would appear, in this game. And, well, we've got this, what was a 4th base, getting taken down incredibly quickly. The drones trying to run away as best they can. But meanwhile, lots of Zerglings coming in here. And we may see this turn into a bit of a base race. And if it does get into a base race situation, well, we're going to see the whole time that Feast is going to regret not taking out that extractor, because the more bases and more buildings you have spread across the map, the worse it is. Another hatchery going down for TLO. He is just expanding everywhere. Meanwhile, these stalkers are getting taken out. There's only 1 remaining, and as you can see, the main nexus is getting taken down, but most of the Protoss units are coming back. They should be able to clean up these Zerglings, which should then mean a win for Feast, who has really struggled just to put an end to this poor Zerg player. But TLO likewise has just been so good in terms of being the aggressor, going with strong counterattacks. But of course, the downside to counterattacking is sometimes you can just lose by basically not dealing with the force trying to kill you. So here we go, we've got the remainder of this force here. Feast has not rebuilt his base, so he's being rebuilt. These Zerglings trying to run away. You need to maintain how cost effective they are, but of course these stalkers are still managing to stay up. We've got the drones transferring everywhere, a war prism just running around and looking anywhere they can. These stalkers trying to clean everything up, and since we're down to the last drops, I'm gonna speed this up because we shouldn't see too much more action, slowing it down anytime that there may be. But these last few Zerglings are getting picked off, and TLO GG's out in what was a pretty funky game. So guys, if you did enjoy, please subscribe, leave a cool comment, like the video, all that sort of shenanigans. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again tomorrow for yet another new cast. Bye for now, guys.